All right.
He's really a good player, isn't he? This is the first time I've met him, but it won't be the last. Heaven, I am in heaven, and my heart is beating. I can barely speak, and I seem to find that happiness I seek when we're out together dancing. Heaven, I'm in heaven, and my heart is beating. I can hardly speak, and I seem to find that happiness I see when we are out together dancing cheek to cheek. Oh, I love to climb a mountain and to reach the highest peak, but it doesn't thrill me quite as much as dancing cheek to cheek. I love to go out fishing in a river or a creek, but it doesn't thrill me quite as much as dancing cheek to cheek. Dance with me, I want my arms about you, the charms about you will carry me through to heaven. I'm in heaven, and my heart is beating. I can barely speak, and I seem to find that happiness I see when we're out together dancing cheek to cheek.
All right. That's Cathy Segal-Garcia singing, and we did that because Linda is involved. She's not a singer herself, but she's involved with lots of musicians and singers. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest, Linda. Is it Sam Morgan or Morgan Sam? I thought it was Morgan Sam.
Morgan Sam.
Yeah, like Segal-Garcia.
Mhm.
Let me get you up on my screen here. Yeah, so Linda, sorry, I'm just doing a few things here. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Doing this, and I want to pay attention to Linda when I start talking with her. And here we go. This is good. So Linda's located in Los Angeles, and she's been a big contributor to the community. I don't think just in LA, because what you do, you kind of spans. However, you are working in LA with LA artists. Hi.
Hello.
So I'm thinking I'm definitely going to bring up everything you do and have done and are going to do, but I'd actually like to know first. I remember you telling me this a long time ago when I first met you, but I don't remember because it was a long time ago. So I'm going to ask you again. Why did you start in the direction that you started on, which is supporting jazz artists, honoring jazz artists?
Well, this story goes back about 2009. Um, I was working with a great friend of ours, Al Williams, at his festival, Long Beach Jazz Festival in Long Beach. And I tried to dabble in doing artist management, and he was my first test. And looking into, trying to find gigs for him and um, venues to play. It was an interesting journey.
Yeah.
And as I was working with him, I was trademarking because I tried to tell him, I said, his festival was playing both smooth jazz and straight ahead jazz. And during the 2009 time, that was a big argument, a big to do on lots of networks, smooth jazz versus straight ahead jazz. And I was like, I don't understand this fight, or what's this all about?
Yeah.
And so as I started managing him, I'm trying to find him straight ahead only gigs because he's a straight ahead artist. And it became so difficult. And so I told him, I said, you know what, you're not straight ahead, you're gonna be smooth ahead. So with my short haircut, I created this logo and it became a brand, Smooth Ahead Jazz, Smooth Ahead. And so I went to go trademark it. Because I wanted to make sure that I protected the brand. And as I was going through the trademark process, I discovered that someone was trying to steal his legacy right before our very eyes. And
In
so
what way?
trademarking his legacy that he had built, the Long Beach Jazz Festival.
Oh,
And in that process, he was able to stop it immediately, but it made me angry. And it made me wonder, okay, if this is happening to Al, who else is this happening to?
yeah.
So I started a conversation with Buddy Collette, and he started telling me about the whole history of, the museum, the musicians union and all of that segregation stuff that was happening with him back in the day. And it just led me to say, you know what, I'm going to start having conversations with Jazz and Blues Legends around this. So we started in 2010 having these conversations around legacy preservation and protection. And Buddy Collette, Michael White, and Clora Bryant were my first guests. We did an event in Hollywood around the the BT Awards or Grammy Awards this one year. And they came and they spoke to the audience about the importance of protecting your legacy while you're alive. And because when you're gone, it's too late. And so that became my marching orders of just helping musicians to understand and protecting their legacy while they're here, telling their stories while they're here. And here we are 12 years later, still doing that work.
Yeah. So we'll just talk about that for, like the progression of what happened first. But so you were doing that work for the three of them, and then then you blossomed out into awards and honoring the Living Legend series awards. And so, what happened? What happened to spur you on to that? I mean, that there was some kind of inspiration, right? That made you
Yes.
go a little further, right?
Yeah. So as we started having the conversations and as I started creating the series around this, it became somewhat apparent that yes, people wanted to know about the protection portion and the legacy preservation, but it became more important for me to give them their flowers while they were here. And so I know that Buddy Collette, he was at the time he had already suffered his stroke, so he was in a wheelchair at the time. and then Clara Bryan and Michael White. They all were of age, and I said, you know what? I want to give you your flowers while you're here. So we created the series. We held it right here in Leimert Park at the Regency West. And then I put together a panel with each honoring. So we
Uh-huh.
had some great guests on each show to come out and talk about the importance of legacy preservation and just the simple thing of owning your own name. 12 years fast forward, this social media stuff is out of control. Your name individually as an artist is out there more times than not you don't know about it because somebody is these kids, they're taking them and they're running with it and they're creating fake accounts and all this stuff under your legacy.
Yeah.
And so it became so important for me to be able to have that conversation is to buy your name. If it's just the .com, not thinking about the .net or the .org, but the intellectual property of just owning your own name, whatever that name you use in business or your government name, as we say, because some artists don't go by their government name. Guitar Shorty, that's not his
Yeah.
government name.
Yeah.
And so I would tell them, just buy your domain name and then pass it on to your grandchildren or
Yeah.
your children. So that was the premises around making sure that the legacy was protected in that way.
So I have a question. So, uh, is this regarding? I mean, if you just buy your own domain name, is that enough, or do you have to do more?
Well, it's a start. What it does is takes your name out of the internet hell, which I call it, so that in the event that you pass on away, no one can erect a website with your name because you've taken it, you bought it, you've purchased it. So there's no way that they will be able to have CathySegal-Garcia.com, .net, .org because you've protected that from being able to happen. They can have any other kind of variations, but they won't have your actual name.
Yeah.
So that's just one part of protecting your legacy. That's from the intellectual side from the internet.
Okay. Well, I have that part.
Yeah.
Okay, so I feel a little better.
Yeah. And I had went so far back, I had a GoDaddy account with $25,000 limit. I bought, at that time, it was 100. I bought all of their names with
Oh,
the
oh, all of your artists' names?
all the ones that we had honored up until that point, and it was 100 of them. I put it on a GoDaddy credit card, and I said I did this so that I pulled them out of the internet hell for your family. I will transfer them to your family when you're ready.
Yeah.
I think a year or two went by, and barely. I think there was only a couple of people who actually transferred them to their name. And I know Sonia Upchurch was one of those, and I think somebody else. But the importance of it it wasn't sinking in. It wasn't registering. I think I didn't do a good job in helping people to understand the importance of protecting your legacy through that intellectual property.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I own hundreds of domains at this point. Nobody's name or any. Actually, I bought. Oh my God, it'll come to me. I've owned her domain now. I think for about 12 years. Um, Famous Roach, married to Max Roach.
Oh,
Uh,
Betty? No.
it'll come to me. But I own her name and been trying to get it to her family. I had gotten close to somebody who knew her, who was able to connect me with somebody who was in the family, but still I wasn't able to make the transition. And she's the only artist. And I do own Buddy Colette's because me and Cheryl, we keep that up so that doesn't go into internet hell. But when I was doing this work in the beginning, Cathy, you would not believe how many people whose names somebody else owned.
Oh,
Even to this day, somebody else owns.
And what is it? What advantage for somebody else like that? You like that in that situation? What advantage is it for them to own somebody else's name?
Well, because when you're going on the internet and you're searching and you put in kennyburrell.com,
Yeah.
you're not going to get Kenny Burrell.
So what? How is it advantageous to the people who own the kennyburrell.com?
Because here, what happens is if Kenny Burrell or his family doesn't regain that before Kenny passes on,
Yeah.
then this person, in all intents and purposes, can do whatever he wants with that domain once Kenny is no longer here. Because nobody will be able to speak for it because he didn't speak for it while he was alive. So the importance of just grabbing it and keeping it out of the internet is the fact that you gain the control. They were selling books under Marla Gibbs' name when I honored her in 2014. And her daughter went to work and snatched it back from this person. So you can imagine on the internet all over the world, somebody searching for you. And as I was honoring and having these programs, everybody that I start honoring, of course, they would go on the internet and try to find out, okay, ooh, who is this person? What does this person do? How famous is this person? And so that became a more, it brought the awareness of the fact that people didn't own their own names.
I see. Yeah. By the way, Tanya Grubbs, who's a great singer on the East Coast, and Breeze Smith are here. You know Breeze, probably, right? The drummer.
No,
Okay, he plays with Dwight and other people. Anyway, so they said Abby Lincoln or
Abby
Maxine
Lincoln. Yes, Abby Lincoln, absolutely.
Roach.
And I've owned that. I bought it on my birthday. Her birthday, my birthday is July 31st, and I bought it and have had it for 10 years.
Wow. By the way, Breeze said this, what you're speaking of, it happened to Sting in internet theft.
Really?
Yep.
See, and this was 12 years ago when I started this conversation. And now with this internet and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all these other social media platforms, it is absolutely important for any of us, not just legends,
Yeah.
but any of us to once a month scrub it and
Yeah.
just do a search on your name. And you'll see what's out there, what's being, told about you, how somebody has taken and made duplicate accounts on Facebook. I got so mad at Facebook one day, I went live and I said, you need to control this because you see the name. You should have a filter where it doesn't allow you to duplicate a person's name. You're much more smarter than you're given credit for Facebook.
Yeah.
You can stop whatever you want to stop, but this whole naming and it just made me mad one day. And I just said, they need to take control of this because we can't keep up with every time somebody wants to take our name. When I was Linda Morgan, I scrubbed Facebook and there probably was two other Linda Morgans, me and one other lady. Now there's thousands, but you can't stop that kind of, you know, um, promotions of whatever you want to say, but you have to just be able to protect yourself. Make sure that they're not using your pictures, your images, or any of that.
Yeah. Roland, my friend Roland, he said, I'm confused. I still don't understand. Is it owning the rights to intellectual property?
No, it's domain names are intellectual property.
Okay.
So when you purchase your name.com, .net, .org, those are intellectual properties that you need to control and not have it in the internet space for someone else to control it when you're no longer here.
Right. I see. You know, I was just thinking that the one thing I've seen over the years, which is kind of slightly amusing to me, is that, on eBay, like I'll have Gary, my husband, will find one of my CDs selling for $500.
That was a thing
Not
too.
selling, putting it up there to sell, but it just makes me laugh. It's like $500.
But even something like that. So that was one of the things that I really wanted the work to really be around is royalties, capturing all of that stuff for legends before they expire. And only you guys could tell your family where the dead. I used to say, you got to tell us where the dead bodies are before you get out of here,
Hmm.
because only then are you able to go after and find those royalties. Barbara told me about a story of an artist whose son, I can't think of his name, a blues artist who he died, and the son found out and got all these royalties years later, hundreds of millions of dollars years later, because he was able to prove that that was his father.
Yeah.
So there's and some of you guys put out some amazing work over a period of time. And if people are just going on the internet and selling it, and your family is not reaping the benefits of that, what good is that for you and your legacy? That they could just sell your CD for $500 and you're not reaping any benefits from that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was my whole thing. I wanted to part. I told Edith Bronson one time, I said, Edith, I know you're an attorney. We need to partner and do this work. It was like, I'm not doing all that. But
Edith Bronston is she's the president of the
California Jazz Foundation.
California Jazz Foundation, which is a foundation that specifically raises money for uh, needy jazz musicians in Los Angeles.
Right, in their care. She was like, we're not going on that other side. Let somebody else do that. So I remember I brought it up when I was a part of the NAACP. We
Uh-huh.
actually was about to do some work around it, and then just lives, and you get off and just start doing different things. So
Yeah.
it's definitely needed for sure.
Well, okay, now I want to actually go backwards in time. I want to know where you're from and I want to know how you grew up and what your interests were.
Well, I'm from Los Angeles, born and raised. I went into the Marines when I turned 20,
Oh.
and so I'm a Marine sergeant.
Oh.
That's probably where a lot of my
That makes sense now. Kidding.
all my friends say, "Why are you so you did?" Okay, let me give it straight. I was a Marine sergeant for 7.5 years, and so a lot of that comes from that lifestyle. I have energy to burn that most people don't. So yes, um, doing that for 7.5 years, came out and went into corporate world. Had my daughter, I have a 31-year-old, and I have a 21-year-old, and just started in corporate America. Went from AT&T, or went in jazz. How I got in jazz, I worked for downtown LA Motors in 2004 and 5. And I helped them to actually grand open all those three new stores down there, Porsche, Audi, and Volkswagen. So I did the grand openings for those. We had a jazz concert up on the Volkswagen side. Good friend of mine's, my big brother, Ray Fuller, who was a guitarist with George Duke. He came and performed for us on the rooftop. For Porsche, we did the Porsche Club launch. And then for the Audi, we did a Habitat for Humanity initiative. And so that led me into sponsorships. And so I would go to find festivals in order for us to go display the cars at these festivals. And that's how I got connected with Long Beach Jazz Festival. I'm not sure if you're aware of BB Jazz, Corky and Betty Benish. Have you ever heard of them? BB Jazz. They're in Huntington Beach.
Oh. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, they did festivals some years ago.
Uh-huh.
And even in Inglewood, there was a festival there called the Inglewood Jazz Festival. So that's how I started in this track of loving and wanting to be around live music.
Yeah.
And so that's what really brings me joy. And from that, I've just now stayed into this lane of creating my own events to have live music.
Yeah. I did you ever play an instrument or sing?
No, ma'am. I can
I
sing, but I
bet you
just don't.
did. I bet you did, and you're hiding it.
I did sing when I was younger in church. I will admit, but I've shied away from that forever and a day. And and even in doing all this work, I never had any interest of having a husband who sings. Well, God's had something different in plan because He gave me a Delphonic, a former Delphonic as my husband.
Oh.
And so He
Wow.
always says, "Honey, you can sing, you can sing."
Cool.
Yes, I'm only gonna sing to Him though.
You don't sing to him?
I only sing to
Oh,
Him.
you will sing to him. That's good. Wow, that's pretty cool. Delphonic. Wow.
Yes,
That's an interesting history too.
yes.
Yeah. Um, oh, hi, TJ. TJ Hudson is here. Um, yeah, BB Jazz, right.
PB Jazz. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so, uh, well, I met you at the Lavender Lounge, I think.
Lavender.
Or at least we had a long talk coming out of there. I might have met you before. But anyway, so next thing I knew from you was that you were doing the Jazz Legends. And so honoring the people who you thought should deserve honoring. And it was Los Angeles, right?
Hmm.
And first of all, how many people have you given honors to?
Well, to date, we have honored 201 jazz and blues legends,
Okay.
which includes yourself and that number. As a matter of fact, let me tell you a story about your honoring in 2015.
Okay.
Dwight Treble was performing at LACMA, as you know, on that day, and it happened to have been on my birthday.
Yeah.
So July 31st, we shut down LACMA. I mean, it was one of the biggest promotions
I
they had
remember.
ever
That's
seen.
that's when I was there too, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I remember
And
that. It was packed.
yes. So they called me like 2 days before and said, "Can you please take down your promotion? We are getting inundated with calls about honoring and you having all these people here that you're going to honor." Because I had a girlfriend who helped me from out of town, Letitia. We
Oh, she's
broke the internet.
yeah.
And with that honoring, it was six of you guys: you, Sylvia Boyd, Jean Shy, um, Jessica Taylor. I'm drawing a blank. Oh, Gloria Hendry, Lorena Morrow, and who? There was one other person.
I'd have to look at the picture, I
I
think.
know. And so I had so much fun with that celebration because it was my way of celebrating my birthday. And I think from that time on, I've honored jazz and blues legends on my birthday in July.
Oh. So I'm gonna look for that picture while we're talking. But so so how did you who was well were the first Living Legends the three people that you were
Uh-huh. The first two were Buddy Collette.
uh-huh.
No, the first two was Rose Gales and Clara Bryant. We
Oh,
started in March of 2020,
I
2010.
remember. Yeah.
And I honored both Rose Gales and Clara Bryant. And then we went to Buddy Collette and Michael White. And then we went to Art Hillary and Linda Hopkins. And it's so funny, all of them are gone as I
Oh.
sit here and talk about it.
I actually have a list here, but this was in 2017, so I'm sure it's it's older.
Yeah. Um, and so just doing, I mean, I would do like these series. It was like back to back to back for, every month I would put on this event, line up all the artists, get all the marketing and done for each one, and just keep going one after the other after the other. I think that's where I've gotten the energy to continue that kind of momentum because once you start one, who did I miss? Oh no, I said everybody. Yeah,
Did everybody? Yeah.
Sylvia Boyd, you, Gloria, Loreno, G. Shy, and Jessica. And so that sit me down. You know what? You're going to be celebrating your birthday, make it with a purpose. And that purpose was always now celebrating jazz and blues legends. And I've done that now consistently.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I'm going to try and find something to listen to for with Billy Red. Billy Red was a legend, right?
Yes. And on, so when they started International Jazz Day, about it's 10 years ago now, I think 10 or 11 years ago, Herbie Hancock started that initiative. And me and Barbara started celebrating on International Jazz Day, which is April the 30th every year.
Yeah.
And so on April the 30th, I gave a Lifetime Achievement Award to Mr. Gibbs,
Terry,
vibraphonist.
Terry Gibbs.
Terry Gibbs, yes. Eve Evans was on that day. Billy Red was on that day. Cal Bessemer was on that day. Pat Sly was on that day. As I'm thinking and going back to that day, Les McCann came. Mary Bold was on that day. And so just being able to honor all of them on International Jazz Day was an amazing event as well. We did that here again in Leimert Park at the Regency West. Probably if you go, if you're pulling up things, if you go to my Facebook page, you go to my albums, you'll be able to pull up the flyers are in there by albums for those events.
Okay.
And so that way it gives a visual for people to see. And, you know, many times I've always said, when I do an event, I got to have a flyer. I have to have a flyer because that flyer will live on forever.
Yeah.
Even long before, after I'm gone, my children, anyone, that flyer will be able to tell the story of what happened and
Yeah.
when. And so even to this day, I'm very grateful. Me and Roscoe partnering together with JazzZone Jazzabration, we have our own marketing arm. We have our own marketing department. And his son, whose name is Kijana Owens, has his marketing company called Success Express Marketing. And he does all of our marketing for us. So back in the day when I had to figure out and find a graphic artist and try to figure out how I'm gonna get a flyer done for my event, he is there for us, helping us to create these amazing graphics now. And we are forever grateful.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so,
yeah. You have a lot of I mean there's a lot of stuff on your Facebook page and the albums.
so if you go to Living Legends right there, that's around town. That was something that a series that Dee Dee did, and she was doing that at Mavericks Flat.
I remember that series.
Yeah,
That was nice. Nice room.
yeah,
Um, I wanted to I'm gonna play some Billy Red because he's
yes.
a dear friend of ours, and uh, he was one of the awardees, and he's really
I'd like a
stupendous.
warm welcome for my dear friend, Billy Red.
And of course, that's Billy Mitchell
Yes.
announcing the great Billy Mitchell.
Bobby Rodriguez, right there is a legend as well in that picture.
Yeah, lots of people here.
One of my favorite places. Georgia, Georgia. The whole day through.
Look at Michael Soche back there on guitar.
I see him. Yeah, yeah,
He's a legend as well.
yeah.
Honored.
Keeps Georgia on my mind.
Robert Kyle on sax.
Yes.
Oh, Georgia.
Dr. Bobby Rodriguez on trumpet.
Trumpet.
Sweet Georgia. A song of you sounds so sweet and clear, like moonlight through the pine. to me, and other eyes smile tenderly, but still in peaceful dreams, I see the road leads back to you. Oh, Georgia,
Ooh, yeah.
sweet Georgia,
With you, Uko.
no peace will I find, oh Lord, but an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Oh, yes, it does. Somebody help me. Other arms reach out to me,
Yes.
and other eyes smile tenderly. Ah, but still in peaceful dreams, I see, oh, the road leads back to you. I said, Georgia, sweet Georgia, no peace will I find, but an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. I said, oh, sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Oh, Georgia, sweet Georgia. Brown, that is.
Oh, you devil.
Praise God.
Oh, that sly devil, man. He's beautiful. He's a beautiful guy.
Yes.
Yeah,
Lift him up and keep him in your prayers.
absolutely.
He's doing well, recovering.
Yeah. Yes, TJ, it is Billy Mitchell on keys, and I forget the other pianist, the Japanese pianist, Yumi, or I forget what is his name. His name is that band was Chemo, Chemo Cornwell on keys, Billy Mitchell, sorry, Mitchell, Michael Sosi on bass, Oka on guitar,
Mhm.
Kurt Hammernick on percussion, Robert Kyle on sax, Jock Ellis on bone, Dave Cowan on drums, Dr. Bobby Rodriguez on trumpet. Yep. So how did you how did you decide who you were going to give the award to?
Well, as I just started going out and listening to more and get into the jazz community, the legends would also tell me of different names because I was a babe in this um, community.
Yeah.
I was, listening more to smooth jazz, so I didn't know who the straight ahead. And we made it a point to, at that time, only try to do straight ahead artists.
Yeah.
They were the ones who were least recognized in the community, and we wanted to be able to uplift that community as well. And so the names and the referrals just started coming. Once we got started, oh, you need to go and talk to this one. You need to honor this one. You need to, and it just became something like that where it just caught on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then as I started going out more and listening to live music, I started then being able to seek out the jazz and blues legends to honor. Jimmy Smith, and he's still here.
I know he is. I'd like to interview him.
Oh yeah,
You know?
he's made a great. He has a jazz club actually in Japan. He was over there for many, many years.
Yes, he was. I went there actually. Yep, he was there. He did well in Japan, you know. It was kind of a perfect hang for him, you know.
Yes,
Yeah.
um, you know, uh, there's so many.
Yeah.
As I, it was at one point we had done an event, and my son, who's now 21, he could literally, I'd say the last name, and he would be able to recite who the first name was of the jazz and blues legend. And we brought him up on stage, and I say Mitchell, and he would say Billy, and Hopkins, and he would say Linda.
That's
So he
cool.
was very intrigued with the work that I was doing at that time, and I think he was only like 8 or 9 at the time. But
Yeah.
yeah, so he's still here now. He sits in my living room, listens to my phone conversations and my Zooms, and knows what's happening with his mama.
So, what project are you working on now?
Well, since we formed the nonprofit here lately in January, as I was speaking about earlier, Barbara, well, let me back up a little bit. In September of last year, Barbara wanted me to
This is
start doing
sorry. This is Barbara Morrison
Barbara Morrison,
for our
yes.
listeners. Yeah. Barbara
She wanted
Morrison.
me to start
Great.
doing,
Sorry. Hold on one second. Just in case people don't know who Barbara is, we do, and a lot of people around the world do. But Barbara Morrison was an amazing force of nature, singer, actress. She ran several locations and really uh, at, built at least half of the community up, if not more, of Leimert Park in LA, which is a really cultural area, and traveled all over the world. She had diabetes. She lost her legs. She still would travel to Australia and then come back and the next day do a gig. You know, it's like she was really an unbeatable force. Unfortunately, we lost her this year, and yeah, but she really left. Talk about leaving a legacy, you know.
yeah. And so, of course, I was only celebrating living legends when we started doing this work. You had to be alive. And the purpose of that was to make sure that we could impart this information and this wisdom on you while you were here. So, September of last year, she said, I'm going to need you to start celebrating life. Now, she told me this, so I'm going to need you to create some event whereby you bring people whose birthdays it is that month and you celebrate their birthday. And I was like, okay, that's great. At least they'll be able to come. I can do that. The celebrating life part. Yes, let's do that. So this September made 1 year of us actually every third Thursday, we celebrate birthdays at her location. And she said, I don't want it to be at night. I need it to be in the daytime so seniors can come and listen to some great music and be home before dark. Those were her direct orders. And I was like, okay, people are working, She was like, I don't care. 3 to 6 is a time frame that I want you to do this. So again,
Yeah.
doing anything for a year's time, you could do it forever. So we've been doing it for a year. And when she gave us our orders in January, she said, I'm going to need you to celebrate some legends that's gone home. Now that's when my eyes was like, okay, you're about to have a fight with me because I celebrate life. I can do that, but I don't celebrate the dead. I don't even do funerals. And my friends and family know, I don't know what it is, but it's just that I don't do them. My mom passed 2 years ago. I didn't go to her funeral. So if I don't go to my mom's funeral, I'm not going to anyone else. And so she said, well, you could just get a picture and put it up on the stage of them and just, pay tribute to them. She in essence was just guiding me. And, I started listening to her more. We would have these late night conversations. She was getting me prepared for her demise. And I got it after a while because she was like, well, bring a picture. I brought a picture of Red Holloway that we had when we used to have the events. We have these big frame pictures where everybody signed them. And so she said, just put it over there on the stage. And as people are watching the Facebook, they can see that you're paying tribute to not only those that are here with us, but those who have gone before us. And I said, okay, Barbara, I can do that. I'll do that. So I said, me and Roscoe, okay, we'll do that. We'll keep it going. Little did we know in, September this year, it would be our time to celebrate her after doing this for 1 year exactly. Every month, on the third Thursday, we would come there. If it's just two people in the audience, we always have a nice trio playing. And because what brings me and Roscoe joy is the fact that we can hear live music. So whether it was 2 of us or 40 of us, that was our purpose of being able to hire our jazz and blues legends. That's our other part of our mission, is to not only celebrate and honor, but to hire jazz and blues musicians as well. And so this September, this last month, there were 2 days of the month that she liked, the 1st and the 15th. She would always say, I need both of you guys to create events here on those 2 days. Well, September the 15th happened to have been the celebration of her for her last month. And it actually was on after we had the big naming ceremony for her on the 10th, that Saturday. Our third Thursday came up and it landed on the 15th. And I said, look at her. She's controlling us still from the grave. That whole thing now is a legacy birthday celebration that she used to do a Hall of Fame award show in September. So me and Tim, we talked about it, and we're going to do that in December every year and make it a big fundraiser to continue to help keep her work and her legacy alive. So December the 10th, look out, save the date. We're going to do a big black and white ball Hall of Fame celebration. And it'll be for all the birthdays that we've celebrated, throughout this year. And so we give people a birthday sash and a cupcake. And it's just a fun time that she created to want to be able to continue celebrating people while they were here. We've honored, she said, you've honored them. Now what you going to do? What you going to do now?
Yeah.
So I said, she said, let's just celebrate their birthday month. And so that's what we've been doing. So October the 20th, we took it up another notch. I should have sent you the graphics, but I'll send them in the chat for you can pull up. We're going back to not only celebrating life, but honoring, because there's so many more still. And I had felt when we started doing this work that there were so many that I just had to make sure that we were covering, getting to everyone before they transition. And that's how we ended up at the number of 201. And so October the 20th, we're honoring David Cowan, who is a harmonicist, he told me.
David Cowan, the drummer?
No.
Because in that last...
Robert Cowan, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Robert
okay.
Cowan,
Okay.
the harmonicist.
Okay.
Blues harmonicist. And Al Threets, blues guitarist, and Jeff Robinson, who is a jazz vocalist. So the 3 of them, we will be honoring them on October the 20th. And then our next one will be November the 17th. So as you can tell with these events, you have to plan and get all the pieces to it together. And that's what I told Roscoe. I said, I just want to be able to one day just be able to show up at these events, give it all to somebody to plan, and he and I just walk in and sashay and sit down. But that's not happening at this moment. But I'm putting it in the universe because it is going to happen. I am 61 years young, and I know it don't look like it, and I have the energy to keep going. But I do want to sail in the sunset here real soon.
That's pretty funny. I understand, though. I totally do understand. Um, TJ wants to know what's the prerequisite to be considered a legacy?
She could be a legend, or
Oh, yeah. Well, he said legacy, but yeah, I'm sure he meant legend.
well, we had when we started 12 years ago, you had to have been 70 years young. And we
Oh,
set that age because by then you've given 25 years at least
yeah,
to the art of craft.
yeah.
And then as they started leaving me too soon and having a conversation with a good friend, Jeffrey, who's with the California Jazz Foundation, he said, Linda, we had a conversation. He said, think about this. If you had been doing this work years ago, the cats that would have never been covered were the cats who passed away under the age of 40. The Miles Davises, the John Coltrane, all of them under the age of 40. So you would never have been able to do this work. And so that got us to thinking and said, you were right.
Mm.
And mortality is definitely rapidly changing. So we just scaled back the age to what the government is. When you can, you get your check, 62. So you are officially government certified at 62. So we moved back the age to 62, with 25 or more years of doing what you love to do.
Okay, TJ, you waiting for that? I know you're only 23, so.
So that helped us to open it up more and,
Yeah,
to be able to breathe more life into it and not, having everyone transpire so quickly.
yeah,
And interesting enough, we had printed a banner that
yeah.
we had at Barbara's event. And it never dawned on me and Roscoe to take a look at this banner. At that time, it was 55 on that list, and that was 2012. I went to tears on that day because I went down the list and 21 of those 55 were gone.
Wow.
So it just helped us to realize the importance of the work that we need to do and continue doing. And so that's why we're continuing now to every month that we're doing celebrations of life, we're going to be doing our honorees as well.
Well, it's a beautiful idea that you've created and worked on. And, you know, I mean, for me, there is not a day that goes by that I don't think about that kind of stuff. Who's gone? Do I feel them around me? Um, what is my life reflecting? Does whatever I'm working on, does this really matter? you know, what really does matter in your life? And uh, relationships and the love, and as you said, the gratitude, but love going back and forth to each other and appreciating people. And yeah, it's what you're doing is part of the makeup of all of this wonderful stuff that I think is the value and worthwhile kind of blanket of life, you know?
Yeah. And it started being something out of a necessity to bring awareness, but then it became a joy. My
Yeah.
mom, that was one of the things, I'm a baby of 8. And that was one thing she told us. Give me my flowers while I'm here. Give me my roses so that I can smell them. Don't cry over me when I'm gone. It's too late. And that sunk in for me. Every August 23rd, I would celebrate her birthday. I would have whatever I'm doing in jazz, her birthday would be involved. So, she's on one of my flyers in 2012. If you look at that album, where we honored, I can't think of who was it on that flyer, but I actually honored her birthday. And we got to be able to celebrate 90 years with her before she transitioned. And
Wow.
so giving people their flowers while they could smell them became something that brought me joy.
Yeah.
It wasn't just because, something to do. It's something that was ingrained in me
Yeah.
through her saying that to me and my brothers and sisters, you
Yeah.
know. And I didn't cry. I didn't have a reason to cry. And I don't have a reason to go to a funeral. That's probably the reason why I don't do it. Is because I've given you your flowers while you were here. I celebrated you and I honored you and I appreciated you while you were here. So
Yeah.
that's the kind of last moment feelings that I want to be left with. I don't want to see you laying flat in a casket.
Yeah. That is so true, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I've gone to some celebrations of life where they don't have the body there, those, and that's what I want for me.
Yeah, me
I want a
too.
big jam session. I want everybody to come and play. I want
Yeah.
everybody to sing. I don't want no my body there or none of that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah. I remember when my sister was dying, she lived on the East Coast, and there was a moment when we first saw each other. She had cancer, and she was kind of losing it. But when I walked in the room and we looked at each other, we totally both smiled, and this huge love was there, and and then after that, she kind of reflected where her mind was, which wasn't a good spot. But that moment of acknowledgement and love, I mean, that's the shit, right?
Yes, yes. And to
Yeah.
be able to give that to someone while they're here, to put that, and the work became so important too, Cathy, in the sense that a lot of the jazz and blues legends that we had honored over these years were right here in LA and didn't know each other and or hadn't seen each other for
Absolutely.
years.
Yeah.
And so when we did the events and it brought them back together, and then 2017 is when I did some amazingness. We created at my church, Morningside in Inglewood, a Jazz Vesper series where every month we would have this celebration and Jazz Vespers. And we
Yeah,
always
I
did,
that's where I came several times, right? That was
yes,
very cool.
yes.
Yes.
And bringing people together and they hadn't seen each other in all those years. And I just chose a quartet of jazz legends.
Yeah.
They didn't know each other. They probably hadn't played with each other or anything, but the quartets came together and gelled like they had been playing for years. No rehearsals, none of that. It was all just live.
Yeah.
And that helped me to see that this community is small yet cohesive in the sense that I would just call Donald Dean, can you be my drummer? Henry, can you be my bassist? Uh, Drea, can you sing? And put four pieces together and they would get up there and just do an amazing. And we did that for a whole year in 2017.
That was
My,
fun. It
yes,
was
my
great.
church loved it.
Yeah.
They want me to start back, which we are
Yeah.
considering doing it.
I loved the pastor. He was great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he was very hip, very. Yeah.
He called it the jazz church.
My friend Sandy Cummings, you're making me laugh, Sammy. Sandy, she lives in Santa Barbara. She said, "Well, I'm 75, but I'm not in LA." And then she said, "I am, of course, only a legend in my own mind."
No, you're a legendary. If you've been doing this work for 25 or more years, that is what. And I had to, Miss Sandy, write a poem one time and actually describe what legendary was to me because half of the artists that I was honoring didn't feel like they was even worthy to be considered a legend. Then,
Yeah.
or some said legend is an old word. I don't want to be considered a legend yet, you know. But if you look in the marketing now, everybody's got legend by their name. But 12 years ago, no. know. It was like unheard of.
Well, things are definitely changing. I don't know. Have you heard of the organization called Jazz is Dead?
I actually had a conversation at the Monterey Jazz Festival with the founder,
Now
and
that
because I
group is
Jock had told me about it,
hip.
and we had a conversation 12 years ago on a network. I don't know if you were part of the Jazz Network online before
Yeah,
there was any social media, and that's what prompted me to get off of that network. They started talking about jazz is dead. I said, "Well, I'm about to show you that it's not dead because
yeah,
I'm going to go and round up all the jazz and blues artists that I know and present them and honor them." And that's how this work also got started because that conversation was happening. But there actually is a group of youngsters who have named themselves Jazz is Dead. And um
their
um
label, their management. They Henry Franklin is one of their
yes,
artists. They take older musicians and mix them with the younger musicians. They create events here and elsewhere, pay the
yes,
musicians well, and the events are sold out with people between the ages of 20 and 50 attending.
yes,
And that just, and then to call it Jazz is Dead, I love that. I love it because it just flies in the face of the old idea that jazz is dead and the old labels that didn't put money into jazz because they said, jazz wasn't popular. And that just excites me a lot,
yeah.
really.
Nicholas Payton was at the Monterey Jazz Festival, and some years ago, when they were talking about Jazz is Dead, he said, "I just wanted to be Black American music."
Yeah.
And so I bought those domains. Intellectually, you have to protect your ideas. When you speak it into the universe,
Yeah.
protect it because someone else is listening. And so
Yeah.
I knew that he probably wasn't even thinking when he said it. So I purchased those domains for him, Black American Music. And
Ah,
so I was able to exchange those and give those to him. And so when I went to the Monterey Jazz Festival, I had never seen him because he's on the East Coast. I'd never seen him in person. I went backstage and actually met him and said, "Hey," and he was telling me about the Jazz is Dead. And his whole set, he played the the keys, he played the trombone, and he played something else, three instruments, and then he had two um, youngsters up there with them mixing in with on keyboard on a mixer type thing. So it was like almost like a DJ.
yeah.
They were intertwined with him.
Yeah.
And Jacques LaSure, ironically, had said to me, "Yeah, yeah, jazz is dead." And at first, I was like, "What are you talking about? Jazz is dead. If it's dead, what is it being replaced with?" You know?
I never understood that thinking. It's like jazz is so alive, it reflects now. And
Yes,
so, yeah, but it doesn't change the fact that, old bebop stuff is great. It's good music or bad music, like Duke said, and, straight ahead or, or bebop or modern. I mean, it's all jazz and it's just, you know, reflections of different portions of it, right?
right. And if it's dead, then we're gonna make sure that they understand it can be dead, but you millennials, that's what I call them all the time. You millennials want to create something new, do that. But the fact that they're bringing the older generation with them and helping them to blend it and paying respect and homage to it, that is what I respect about the whole jazz is dead mantra.
Me too. Yeah, like so TJ, you may not know about this group of people, and you should check it out on the web. Yeah, Joyce, this is the same group. Jazz is Dead. It's the band, but they're also a label and a management company. So it's all part of the same thing. And Dan here is
Catalyst
sorry.
is the name of the group. Catalyst.
Yes,
They're out of
Cathy with a K.
UCLA.
K.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. But also Jazz is Dead is a band too. And
Mhm.
so yeah, so Dan, you didn't post the picture. You said here's a picture of when Mon David got his Living Legend honor and getting recognized at the same time as Bill Withers, but you didn't post the picture. So I'm just telling you, gotta post that picture, baby.
Okay, yeah, that was when we, so every June, that was one of the things that we've done in the past. Every June is June being um, Black Music Month. They've changed it from what President Carter called it, to African American Music Appreciation Month to Black Music Month. But June is recognized for that. So every June, I would get the city council to bring us to city council and recognize those legends in that month. And
Uh-huh.
yes, Mon David, along with Benny Maupin, was honored in,
Okay.
in City Hall that day, as well as Bill Withers. So yes, that's what they're speaking of. And so every June we do that. I've just sent out a notice to our existing councilwoman who just made history, Miss Heather Hutt, and asked her to could if she's still there, can we continue this? That's a Michael Saucier honoring there. That's at our church when we did the Vespers. To
Yeah, and you
continue
and you
this
in your
work,
beautiful red dress. There he is again with
yes.
Donald Dean and who's on congas?
Is that Mayunga?
I don't think so.
Oh no, that's Durf. Durf is no longer with us. Durf Reclaw.
Right. And here you go. This is Victor Orlando and James Janice and
Elena.
Elena. Yep. And there's Gail Larone, I think, in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, there she is again. Yep, that was fun. It was a great time.
Yes. Let me see.
um, yeah, I think I might just like pick somebody else, like uh, I don't know, Dwight Tribble or something, or
Yeah.
let's see. Dwight Tribble is an amazing artist who now runs um,
The world stage.
World Stage, and he's really an amazing guy. He's an amazing person and an amazing artist. Let's see, maybe well, this one was 12 years ago. I mean, it's here's a 4 years ago. Let's see if he's going to do.
Ooh, child.
When it comes to you, let us know. Yes, sir.
God, this is so good, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Gorgeous, really gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. He's just an amazing guy. Oh, that's
Can I share my screen?
yes, you can. Let me stop sharing mine and you can share yours.
So I'll show you. We were talking about the flyers. Here's the first one that we did. It was with Gemin Foundation when I spoke about the Smooth Ahead brand and logo that I was cheering at that time.
Yeah.
So here we had Barbara and Gail Johnson and Marita. They were on the panel, and we honored Rose Gales and Clara Bryant. And then from there, we went and we had on the panel Larry Nash and Dougal, who's no longer with us, Benny Maupin, John Stephen, James Benson, Bubba Jackson was the moderator, and we honored Buddy Collette and Michael White. Buddy Collette here, Michael White, who's no longer with us. And then we went to April or May, and then we honored Linda Hopkins here and Art Hillary.
Mm.
I had on that James Janice was the moderator with Al and Charles Owens and Mac, Noah Shaheed, and Bobby Zeno, who's no longer with us on that panel. And then we went to, this is in, I believe this one is in July, around my birthday. So we honored Miss Elvira Vired and Curtis Kirk, who's no longer with us, drummer. And I had these guys on panel, Dwight Treble, Michael Dolphin, Jock LaSure, and Marcus Miller. And then Chet Hanley moderated that one. And so every event, we've been able to create some amazing moments in time where, like I said, the legends hadn't seen each other or didn't know that they were here. And we helped to bring them together with these celebrations. And then here in 2012, we kicked it off with, I was able to honor Ernie Andrews, Richard Reed, Piper Alves, Larry Music Harrison, and Wally Holmes. 3 of them are no longer with us. Eve hosted that one in 2012. We had Roy Gaines, who's no longer with us, Clara C.J. Johnston, who's no longer with us, Elliot Shavers, who's no longer with you. And this here's my mom. When I was telling you I honored my mom on her birthday, here she is. And Michael Dolphin was our MC. And so these are just great. Gerald Wilson, you know, this is Miss Charlie Janae and Billy Mitchell. So each of these celebrations, we made sure that we had a great visual to be able to keep it forever. Dr. Richard Allen Williams, who plays trumpet, Gilda, who is a jazz historian, Bill Henderson, who's no longer with us. And then we had, of course, James Janice and Raw Sugar Jazz as the quartet. Here we had Howlett, who's no longer with us. Of course, then you have Al Tootie Heath on drums. And did you ever know Sandy Graham? Do you know Sandy Graham? She's still with us.
Yes, she is, and I do know her. Yes, I've known
Great
her.
vocalist.
Yeah, great vocalist.
And then here was a series where we honored Skipper, Al Williams, and Merle Crybaby. Of course, Leroy was the MC on that one. And then here we had Charlie Janae, Lady Gigi, who's still singing at 80 something. I go on Sunday nights and hear her. She sings the blues at local in Inglewood at a place that we call that's called Lavender Blue, and she's still singing. And here's Ann. Ann, of course, moved up to San Francisco.
Yeah.
And honoring her. So those were, you know, some of the things that we did in 2012.
Cool.
But just always having a visual presentation. And I dropped some things in the chat for you. That's in terms of what we have coming up. Oh, when he said about Moon David.
There you go.
Yeah, there it is.
That was on the top floor of that building downtown. Was that right?
Oh, no, that's the city club. So this was downtown at city council.
This was this is not the city club?
No,
Okay.
We didn't talk about the city club. So I joined the city club in 2008, 17.
Uh-huh, right.
And there was a jazz councilman who was one of the members who always wanted to have jazz at the city club. And they used to be on Bunker Hill before they moved into the new building where they are now
Yeah.
in the City National Bank. And when I joined in 2017, he was telling me about it. And I was like, well, I could do that in my sleep. He was like, who are you, little girl? You know how long they've been trying to have jazz up here? I was like, I don't know, sir, how long they've been trying to, but I could do it. Let me do it. And so I joined in September. Unfortunately, he passed in November. He didn't get a chance to even see our first jazz. We called it Jazz in the Sky. And Jazz in the Sky became one of those events at the City Club where sold out. And it was in tribute to bringing the legends and having them to perform. I would only hire jazz legends to come and play there at this event. And unfortunately, he didn't get a chance to live to see it, but the events, like I said, they became amazing events for the City Club. And I'm going to go to, let me show you this right quick while I'm talking. And I did it for 5 years. This July turned out to be a tribute for Barbara Morrison. So we actually did a tribute to her where I had honored Stu Elster on that day. Charles Smalls was already a legend. He was in her original band. Luther Hughes and Gerald Ballard. We honored them on this day, Jazz in the Sky, where we paid tribute to Barbara because last year she came in July and sung for my birthday party, which was a July Jazz in the Sky. So we was able to have her there. And Mr. Cunningham, David Cunningham Jr. was the City Club member who always wanted to have the jazz there. And so here we welcomed Karen Hernandez, Donald Dean, and Henry. Let me see, I'm going back the other way. We've done Jazz in the Sky here with Michael Soche, Sylvia Boyd, Don Littleton, Michaela Keys. This one we did J.J. Burton with Michael Soche, John Littleton, and Mikhail. But we did over 12. Here's Sylvia again with Donald Dean, Bobby Pierce, and Bob Lee. And we just would do these amazing events at the City Club. This was when Barbara was there. She had her original, all of her band members, Peter Buck, Charles Smalls, Michael Soche, and herself. We've had, and this one included Brenda Lee Yeager, Michael Soche, Stephen Foster, and Greg Wright on piano. And we honored Greg Wright on that day at that one. This one was Jeff Robinson, of course, Stephen Foster McHale, Daryl Crooks on guitar. May he rest in peace.
Wait, did he pass?
Yes,
When did he pass? This year?
yes, earlier. It was actually right after we had a birthday celebration at Barbara's.
Oh, I am so sad to hear that. Did he, was it COVID or something
And
else?
he had respiratory issues.
Oh my God. Oh,
So that that was our series there at the City Club. We had done 16 of them there. I was doing one a quarter. So
yeah.
every January, April, July, and October. So this would have been the 17th one this month, but it was postponed. But
And also you said, where am I? Oh, sorry. Let me go back to open these. This is, there's three things that you included. So let me share those. So this is coming up. So
yes,
this is uh and where are these going to be held?
at Barbara's.
Okay. So Al Threats,
Mm-hmm.
the October 20th, Jeff Robinson
Mm-hmm.
on October 20th, the three of them.
Yeah.
Okay. And and Robert Cowan.
Yeah, so that's our new promotional marketing to just take it, and with all of this, I've been grateful to be able to do this work out of my own pocket. Me and Roscoe, we funded everything. We basically have been doing these events single-handedly. And with the formation of this nonprofit, which I now understand from Barbara, and the reason we needed to do it and to get it done, a lot of people wanted to support us back then. But because the nonprofit wasn't a write-off, a way for them to be able to write it off, we didn't get that support. But look at God, even without it, we were able to do some amazing work. And I think us now having this nonprofit, being IRS certified and all of that, people are able to give to us and get your tax write-off. You can go to our website, JazzZone, jazzabration.org now. And, if you wanted to give us a donation, we'll get you, definitely a receipt for that.
I'm
And
going to
the
write
money,
that down.
yeah,
It's
the money that we take in,
sorry, Jazz ONE. It's not Jazz.
Jazz Zone, yeah,
Oh,
Jazz Zone,
JazzZone. Jazz
Jazzabration
Jazzabration.
dot org,
BR
BRATION
JazzZone Jazzabration.com. Okay.
.org.
Oh, .org. Sorry.
Yeah.
If I can.
So we are, a 501c3 now, and we're proud of that work. We just started, like I said, in January at Barbara's urging. Haven't really made any major announcements about it. We've just been doing the work, and that's the main thing for us is doing the work. It's not about tooting our horns and doing all that stuff, because what's important is making sure that we elevate and communicate about jazz and blues legends that are here amongst us. And I saw that when somebody had said this is only in LA County. When we started this work, we wanted to take we're international, by the way. I've been in international spaces for years with this work. The International Jazz Day puts us in a platform that we're all over the country. And so as we celebrate on April the 30th, our information goes on International Jazz Day. You go to jazzday.com, you'll see all the years that we've been participating, because they use marketing flyers as well. But my goal in doing this work was to find legends everywhere, not just here in LA. I was just doing the work here because I wasn't going to travel to do the work. But now in my 60s, my goal and what I put in the universe is I'm going to start traveling the world. And in my spaces and times of travel, I will be looking for jazz and blues legends to honor in their own spaces. And what's interesting about that, never had gone to the Monterey Jazz Festival, and this year going, and Texas Southern University was there. They had gospel music on Sunday for the first time in 65 years at the festival. And Texas Southern and Morgan State were there. They had choirs and they performed. And so my spirit led me over to Texas Southern booth to talk to the programming and the marketing director. I said, you know what? I have this idea. And it's just a download that just happened with me. I said, but I have always wanted to partner with International Jazz Day and have us honor a jazz legend, jazz and blues legend in all 50 states. So will you partner with me to make it happen for 2023? And they were so excited that is what we're going to do in 2023. I always speak what I want to happen, and then I put the boots to the action. That's how I've been able to do all this work for all these years with, what we have.
Yeah.
You set your intention and God will make it happen for you. Whether, you have no money or some money, we will definitely be able to continue doing the work. And so it's just going to be amazing to see April the 30th, 2023, that on International Jazz Day, JazzZone Jazzabration will be around across the country honoring a jazz and blues legend where they are, because this is where this work really needs to take to the next level, is celebrating jazz and blues legends all over the country. And I have friends and networks that I've set up over these years. We have International Jazz Day pages for all of them to be able to do the work. So, I'm just one person, but I'm trying to do the most.
That's really cool. You're giving me ideas too.
Yes, and
Because
that's what it's about.
yeah,
Inspiration.
it would be nice on that day to take I've interviewed here over 470 people. You're
I'm the
470.
473rd.
Yes. So, but it would be nice on that day actually to have like a bunch of hours, of people coming and going, dropping in for 15 minutes or something, and
Yes,
honoring them. I think I'm going to do that. Thank you for that idea. That's good. I like that. It's like
absolutely.
spreading the word. By the way, TJ suggested Oscar Brashear, and I agree, right? Oscar Brashear.
Yes, he actually lives around me.
He does?
Yes, someone had given me his name and I lost contact. Oh my God, thank you so much for that remembrance.
Amazing, yeah.
He
And
lives,
also, my friend Dan Davila would recommends Andy Bay, which is absolutely, I think that would be awesome.
absolutely. I am putting those names down in my book because there's, like I said, we've only been doing this work for ourselves. Just think if we had an army of volunteers to help us.
Yeah,
It takes more than just me and Roscoe to do this work. We are looking for volunteers. We're looking for help in all kinds of ways to help us to do this work, to help to make the events amazing, to show up and support and come out to the events. We are absolutely on board with that. And so I'm definitely writing. I know Oscar was one, and I believe Andy Bay was recommended to me by I think it was Mon David at that time. And we had, of course, during COVID, that slowed us down in 2020. But we're going back at it. And I told my partner, I said, Roscoe, let's not stop. John B. Williams, yeah, he's already a legend. Thank you for that. But let's not stop. Let's continue. We're doing these events every month anyway. Why don't we just continue the work that we were doing in conjunction with that event? Celebrating life is one thing, but the honoring and celebrating life is now what we're moving forward with.
I
And
mean,
so,
I can totally relate that like it's a bit overwhelming because there are people, so many people all over the world kind of I don't want to use the word worthy of, notoriety, but um
just being recognized and honored and
yeah, yeah,
celebrated while
yeah,
they're here,
yeah,
giving them their flowers. And that's how we like to say it. We just want to give them their flowers
yeah,
while they're here. No,
yeah,
it's not a Grammy, it's not a Emmy, or not, it's no on that comparison, but it's our way of saying we see you. My girlfriend, I just came back, she has an amazing award show that she's done in her nonprofit world of saying we see you. And she honored Karen Bass and a whole nother host of women who are doing community things. And this is our way of saying we see you.
yeah.
We want to recognize you.
Yeah,
So
you
I,
know who actually has started doing that, and he's coming into his second annual thing, is the singer and doctor named Jerome Pittman. Do you know Jerome?
yes, I
So
met him at not the Gardenia, over on Santa Monica. I went there a couple of times with Mary Bold.
it might be the
Oh,
Gardenia, or
uh,
it's not the Gardenia.
maybe it is. So Santa Monica
Oh,
down the street from the
yes,
Formosa.
yes,
Okay, yes, I met him there.
yeah, and he did an event last year. I was in it, and James Arnold was honored, and Aviva Diamond, and who
And
else?
there's no shortage to this work. We are by no means trying to claim it all to ourselves. Collaborations now is very key.
Yeah,
Organizations collaborating, putting our efforts together. We don't want to be out here by ourselves. I am looking forward to working with other organizations. We're building great collaborations. Have you heard of Heart of LA?
yes,
I met Tony and his partner. That is our youth. So of course, my background. I worked with Dola Coker Jazz Scholarship Foundation, and we
yeah,
had the Duke Ellington Society. Those are two boards that I'm a board members of, and that nurtures our youth to bring them into this community of legends. And the Heart of LA is an organization that I am looking forward to getting. He had no clue about all of the legends that are here, that he was wanting to make an intergenerational choir and an intergenerational big band. He's doing amazing work and has been doing it for years. So just to think of the collaborations that I can introduce our jazz and blues legends to his organization, and putting the youth together to create big bands and quartets and choirs is the next thing. You know, I get excited. You can see I'm up here sweating. It makes me excited to think about just the amount of work and the collaborations that can be done.
Yeah.
You know, people think that you could do this work by yourself. It takes a team, it takes a village, and we are looking for that team. Go to our website, JazzZone, jazzabration.org, and leave us your information, and we will keep you up to date as you know, the things that we're doing and that we want to continue to do.
Yeah.
So definitely, I'm excited about that.
I know so many people I could give you a list of, but just making the list makes me tired thinking of it. There's so many people to, you know, to acknowledge and to say.
But the beauty of that, Cathy, is just doing it.
Yeah.
Give me the name. I mean, of the 201, just like somebody put John B. Williams in there, John B. has been honored. You know, it may come across some are already, we've already honored, but people, when we were doing the work, it wasn't so widespread that people even knew about it. You know, we didn't have no mass marketing machine. It was just me and Roscoe on Facebook doing what we do. You know, with a budget, you know, you can hire some millennials to get out there and do all the stuff and the street team and all that. But, you know, we're here. We're still doing the work.
By the way, John Pisano is getting way up in age, and he's contributed huge amount of guitar. He was the guy who ran Guitar Night for years and years and years, and he would bring in all kinds of guitar. He's like and he was a famous guitar player for years, and beautiful man too. So
Pisano?
Yeah, John Pisano, and he's definitely getting up there in age.
Okay. And I could see some collaborations with this and being able to make these events, and because I have honored as many as 16 in one event. Remember when we did it at Barbara's in the garden?
Yeah.
We honored 16, Eloise Laws, and there was quite a few on that program.
Yeah.
So the amount of awards that I can get from the city is, I just have good relationships. Let me just say that. And we created our own as well, so that we could have a prideful pride in the giving our award that we present as well.
Right.
So I'm open. I'm looking forward to many more relationship building capacities. And if any of you know of any gracious young millennials out there who wants to get behind and run a nonprofit, we are solid. We are great standing. My credit is excellent because it takes good credit to get credit and to make your nonprofit. All these things I'm learning. Credit worthy. You got to be bank ready, contract ready, and
credit
loan ready.
Yeah. Breeze said Michael Gregory Jackson, guitarist.
Okay. Well, I'll be able to go back and look at all the notes and stuff on Facebook and to definitely capture those. So for the October event, which is the one that's coming up soon, we're honoring. Aaron, see what's that? I'm sorry. My husband just walked out the door and I heard something. But for the birthdays for those we're paying tribute to, Art Hillary, Bernie Pearl, Deborah Roldown Dixon, Edwin Sankey, who's no longer with us, Henry Franklin's birthday, Carolyn Gliona, Clarence C.J. Johnson, and Wally Holmes. Those are the ones so far that we know are in October.
There's one other guy who just passed away who was incredibly nice, talented, named Mike Lang. He was a pianist and he was an LA icon. He did a lot of studio work, but jazz work as well. And I don't know if that would come up in honoring, like somebody who had passed, but uh, he definitely deserves notoriety. He has notoriety, but more, yeah, but
Michael Lang.
I'm sure she already did Durf, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Um, and I think that you should hook up with Jerome because his event is called JEXA, and I forget what that stands for, but
I think it
yeah,
was Jazz Excellence Awards.
yes, it was. I don't know. You should just I don't know somehow be part of the event or something. Um,
Correct.
yeah,
And again, I am open to partnering and doing this work alongside someone. We don't have to do it continue doing it in our silo.
yeah,
We're definitely looking for the next collaboration. So I'm grateful, just being able to have done the work. We've been able to do this work for 12 years with no sponsorships, no, financial contributions. But now as a nonprofit, again, we're able to take donations. And
Did you
you can
hear that,
write it off.
everybody? Yeah. Did you hear that, everybody?
Yes. And even to partner with us with your organization. I mean, let us help bring your ROI to you. We like I said, we have our own marketing team, our own marketing company
Yeah,
who is excellent. Kijana, he was trying to call me. I told him to get online, but he was calling me on the phone. But to make sure that people understand the work.
yeah,
You get to, as he always tell us, you get to do this work. And
yeah,
I'm as I've aged, my next level of this, like I said, is traveling. So I have my own full-fledged traveling agency, thanks to Kijana, where I will be traveling, and in my travels, I will be creating experiences. We're gonna do some jazz on the sea. We're gonna do some jazz cruises. We're going to live, once you pass 55, and that was one of the things in the we just skipped right over. But when I turned during the COVID, I just recently got married, and here we are, March, we're hunkered down, we're shut in, we can't go nowhere.
yeah.
Everybody was stuck in the house. So I took to Zoom at that time and created a company called Married Tribe 55 Plus, couples only. And that was a community of us getting online every Monday and talking with pastors about our situation, about how we're going to cope with living in this house with somebody who you don't know, how we going to manage. Because what started happening was a lot of my married friends who were used to traveling and not being at home and then they're like about ready to kill their wives and husbands. And I was like, no, we're not. We're gonna talk, we're gonna have some pastors get on each week and counsel us, help us to get through this. So I have a creative mind and I'm gonna always keep something going. But we did that for 2.5 years. Me and Roscoe, we
Yeah.
had our Married Tribe 55 Plus couples podcast going on, and it was created by his son, Kijana Owens. So
Oh,
he creates the art. If you look at some of our studios online that he's created, it's a custom studio for us, and he streams it through what's that other one? I can't think of it. But you're able to create
re,
your own background.
restream or what's
Not StreamYard, StreamYard,
oh yeah, screen yard.
StreamYard.
So just as if we wanted to look at that briefly, what would we look for? Is it
Okay,
on?
let me bring it up. So on Facebook, our group, our page was Married Tribe 55 Plus, couples only.
Okay, I'm curious. Married,
Um,
married
and here,
tribe 55 plus.
Yes.
Uh,
So here's
like this one.
yes, that's the group. Scroll down and see if there's any.
Uh,
Oh, you have to be in the group in order to see anything. I'll do a quick share. I got it up.
okay, good.
Where am I? Okay, are you there? Popped out of Zoom. Okay. So here, Mary Tribe 55 Plus, we had a virtual podcast on every first and third Tuesday. And we would just have these. This is one of our commercials. Did I share? I didn't share with the sound.
Oh, play. Just hit play. It didn't play.
Okay, let me see. This was one of our commercials that he created for us. And we would have different pastors to come on and just talk to us about.
Yeah.
So that was me. Let me show you something right quick. That's the group page. But I wanted to show you the page that he created for us, where you could see the actual studio.
Yeah.
So this is our podcast now, the JazzZone Jazzabration podcast.
That's cool. Does it have volume? Oh,
Can you hear it?
yeah, I can hear it now.
So all of this work he does in the background for us and making our podcast. Welcome to this wonderful Tuesday morning, the first Tuesday in August. Finally, we are already in August, and this is our new debut show, the JazzZone Jazzabration podcast. What do you say?
I say that, you know what, a new debut is absolutely awesome and right on time. JazzZone Jazzabration is here, ready for the large of the century. We are moving forward and we're moving expediently toward success with the things that we're doing. And it's certainly glad to be on the JazzZone Jazzabration podcast, new and improved. How you doing, partner?
And we're coming to you every first and third Tuesdays at 9 a.m. right here on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and all of the channels and social media. We got so much to talk about here at the JazzZone. So that's our JazzZone podcast that he just created for us. But Mary Tribe has a similar studio, and it's a great way of branding your companies or branding. You know, he does commercials for us. It's amazing. So you guys can go there definitely and watch those.
Cool, very
We've
nice.
been streaming ever since we got the shutdown in March. So we've just kept creating, as I said.
Right.
So in addition to being online, we're offline too.
I'm just putting the Jazz Zone Jazz. That's a long name. Jazzabration. Is it plural or not plural?
Not plural. And remember, so I trademarked the word jazzabration again, just for the legacy protection of that, because I knew that this work we were going to be doing it for more than a year, 10 years. And now here we are 12 years. So
Yeah.
Jazzabration became the celebration for honoring the jazz and blues legends. And JazzZone is Roscoe's company that he has been paying tribute to his dad, who was a drummer, Jimmy Owens. Back in the day, he was with Cal Basie band and all of that. So he's been paying tribute to his dad by hiring musicians. And that was another thing I wanted to say quickly. When we started doing this work, I wanted to elevate I started hearing all kinds of stories about how much jazz legends were being paid to play at different places. And it started making me angry again. So when I'm angry, I have to do something with that anger. And therefore, helping me to create the Jazz in the Sky series at the City Club gave an elevated level of pay for a musician to come there and play. And I was, I was slapped on my hand many times because I was paying more than the average gig worker was getting at any place. And I was told, well, you're paying more than the musician scale, and you're doing too much. And I said, well, if I'm doing too much, that must mean I'm doing something okay. To be able to, and now that I think about why Barbara made us get this nonprofit and how we can have more funds to be able to do the work that we're doing and to pay a musician a scale that's way far and beyond whatever the norm is. I've heard stories of just being able to just do gas, or I'm not going to have a musician come and play for me nowhere for just gas. That's
Yeah.
just crazy.
Yeah.
So just being able to create those sponsorship opportunities where we can take the money and give it to the musician
Yeah.
for that time frame was was our heart in being able to do this work.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're coming too close to the end here. It's been 2 hours, believe it or not. And
Oh, you forgot the JazzZone. They said the URL. You have JAZZ. You left out one Z. JazzZone.
no,
Jazz is one word, and zone.
Breeze did that. Yeah. And so it's actually, yeah, I put it up above correctly.
Oh, okay.
He just typed it in instead of clicking on the link, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, and Jerome, I sent a message to Jerome, so
Yes,
he hooked in. I think Jerome and you should, talk or something, because it's
definitely.
pretty cool.
Jerome, come on, partner with me for October the 20th, and I'll come and do whatever you need to do. Bring your community to Leimert Park, to Barbara Morrison.
He's having, yeah, and he's having the JEXA Awards on, let's see, it's, it's November 20th.
November 20th. So that's on the Saturday. We have our third Thursday, November the 17th. So maybe I do have a partnership coming where they want to bring a group of folks to that one, but they want it's kind of for Leimert Park. But again, we can partner with you on yours and bring our community to you. We can, merge our communities, because it's all about creating successful events.
Yeah, exactly. And the bigger the better, really.
Yes,
We're all doing the same thing.
correct.
It's not about us per se.
Right.
It's about everybody, the community, and yeah, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. I applaud you, and I'm so happy to talk to you and introduce you to some people who may not know you, and just it's such a great. There's so many great things that you've done and are continuing to do. Your heart is gold. So thank you so much for all your work.
Absolutely appreciate that. So we just want to continue to do it, until I no longer have any breath in me to do the work. I'm going to continue, and I'm glad that I met a partner in this work who works as hard as I do, and appreciates he's not an artist either. He's not a musician, but he's an artist.
Yeah.
And so his creative love of art, we've been able to do some art and jazz extravaganzas. That's another thing, just many creative hats that we've done over these 12 years that just keeps us busy and keeps us going.
I didn't even think about it, but we should have had Roscoe come on too, But anyway, yeah. So, but the more you get involved with Linda's programs, you'll meet everybody too.
Absolutely.
I do want to tell you guys that tomorrow I am having Jody Jarris on.
Jody, yes.
So Jody is a good friend of both of ours. She's a legend. She's a really good singer, and she's a really great actress. She's
Actress,
been an actress
yes.
for a long, long time. So she's going to be on tomorrow, and then Wednesday there's a really incredible pianist composer who does both classical and jazz from the East Coast named Steve Sandberg. So he's going to be on Wednesday, and then I'll have the archives on Thursday through Sunday. One comment or two comments just to spread the word. On Sunday at Catalina's, there's one of my favorite jazz singers in the world, Sinna E, and she and Josh Nelson are going to be playing at Catalina's, and she's well, they're both, it's going to be gorgeous. And then Saturday, any of you who are up the coast a little on the West Coast, I'm going to be in Paso Robles at a really nice, kind of relatively new place called Libretto. And I'll be with Larry Kuntz on guitar and Josh Nelson on piano. And we have a record out called Dreamsville. So, yeah, we're going to be there Saturday if you're up the coast. And that's it for this week. So thanks, Linda.
Absolutely. And even, are you familiar with Keith Borden with Music RX? He's at the Formosa on Mondays. So he has Peggy Blue coming on there on Monday. So once a month on Mondays, he does an open mic at Formosa's, which is down the street from the Gardenia.
Yeah.
And he started an organization called Music RX.
Music RX. Oh, nice.
That organization brings the critically, those who are critically ill or not able to get out. He actually goes and brings them to events. His organization pays for them to have a caretaker to bring them out to events.
Wow.
And so that's another type of organization to
Wow.
partner with, to make sure that people who want to hear music get it at the most vulnerable time in their life.
That's
So,
incredible.
yes.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of partnerships that we can all think about and do this work together. No longer do we need to do this work separately, and not with others that are in the same like mind.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
I said, me and Roscoe, we have been fortunate. We are grateful for doing the work, but we definitely want to partner and
Yeah.
collaborate in
Yeah.
2023.
Yeah. Far out, man. Thank you so much, Linda. It's been a really nice conversation.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Please say hi to your husband and Roscoe for me. And yeah, we'll see you in a minute.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank everybody out there on Facebook for joining us. And of course, the replay will share it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, dear. Thank you and take care.
Hi, sweetie.